Hello everybody. Normally it's Truls saying these words, but welcome to yet another episode of the Pursue podcast. Our guest today is Runar Borgen, fantastically talented swimmer. He graduated from University of Tampa in May 2016 after 3 years there as a very successful swimmer. Runar, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
We went through your list of achievements and it's rather long, but Truls is going to give it a go to pick out some of the best bits. So Truls, take it away.
I could be sitting here for another half an hour and just doing this intro, but yeah, obviously swimmer, 5 golds in the Norwegian Championship and has the Norwegian junior record for 50 fly. University of Tampa alum, more than 10 school records while at Tampa, All-American and the record holder for 200 fly. And like I said, I could go on forever, but Runar, I think it's your time to take this away and talk about all these accolades you've had over the years.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I was actually thinking about it when making some notes and preparing for this conversation, that, I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for you guys, and especially Kim.
That's nice. That's nice. I feel like I have nothing to do with your accolades. What you did in the pool, that is all on you, because I know all the hours you put into that, Runar. But yeah, it's nice to have a little. I helped you obviously with the process of getting to Tampa and finding the right school, and that a tiny bit of that. But that it feels good. So thank you for saying that.
Absolutely, you definitely deserve it. And no, it's been an amazing process. I feel like I've had the opportunity to perform at every single stage that I've been at. It's been a pretty nice progression from when I first started swimming all the way up until this year. So I've had a lot of fun, and it's been a great journey.
Yeah, because if you go back to the start of the journey when we first met, that was in late 2012, I believe, because you made the decision of starting the process of becoming a student athlete in January 2013, and then ended up at Tampa, University of Tampa in Florida in August 2013, and I think you signed the scholarship papers maybe in April. So it was you started the process fairly late, but you started university in Norway at that point because you did a year in Tromsø there, and you went as a transfer student. But why did you start there first, and why didn't you go straight to college in the US right after high school?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of coincidences. I didn't even consider the opportunity of going to college in the U.S. or somewhere else in the world. I had just been focusing on swimming and completing high school as best as I could. I had an amazing coach by the name of Kajarild Paulsen, the junior national head coach for swimming. He was there, and I wanted to stay with him and stay with the amazing team that I've been at for the past 4 years. So I decided to, let me not waste this opportunity and just swim, but also continue to focusing on school. That's been very important for me since day one.
So you had good results in school as well. I mean, I think if I remember back to the swimmers that we've been helping, I think they all have this common trait of all doing extremely well in school, as well as being good athletes. But that is maybe it's just a swimming thing. I don't know. Is that something you recognize, with other swimmers that you've been in your team or been competing against?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our swim team at the University of Tampa had the highest GPA out of any team in school. So
and you're so structured. I mean, in my sports high school, I was a soccer player, but I went to a sports high school where there were some swimmers in the same class as me, and by the time I woke up, probably they had swam like 10 kilometers and eaten a bread, a whole loaf of bread, and that's, and then we showed up at school, and then they did the same thing, later that day. They trained so hard and was so structured, and to get to that level, obviously college swimming, it's a high level of competition there, and to get to that stage, you have to set your days up very well.
Exactly, and that's a very good point. And for me, it's always been really important to think long term and to really secure a future for me after swimming. Making a lot of money and being financially stable in the sport of swimming, it's really difficult in Norway and in the world in general. You have to be the best at what you do. I obviously wanted to be the best, but I also wanted to, make sure that I could have a great life after swimming. And I feel like a lot of people think the same and take school really serious because of that.
Yeah. And I remember talking, and obviously your big goal it was to qualify for the Olympics and get to the main stage, and going to Tampa or the US, before you knew that it was Tampa that was going to be your destination, you felt that this was the right move to chase that dream. The US they have really good swimmers in the US. So was that an important motivating factor for you to make that move?
Yes, absolutely. So my year at the University of Tromsø, my head coach, he told me that he had to move away, and it was first then that I really looked at, okay, what do I need to do now to continue improving myself and continue to swim fast and also at the same time being able to perform well in school, because I didn't really do well in school at the University of Tromsø. All the hours that I worked out and just the whole setup that you have here in Norway, where you're basically left to perform for yourself in school, it was just nothing that I resonated well with. So I had to sit down and figure out, okay, what can I do to continue my swimming career? And after talking to a couple of older Norwegian swimmers that I had gone to the US and to college, then it just clicked for me that I had to do that.
And I remember you made that decision fairly quickly after we spoke. I mean, we obviously had a good conversation about what it is that we do and what we can help you with, and wanted to know more about what are you after. And then you didn't take long before you just say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then off we went, and we started the process, and that is the more fun part when schools start contacting you and having interest. But you could have ended up in West Virginia, you could have ended up in Tennessee, you could have even ended up at a university in Canada, the only one that competes in the US college system, at Simon Fraser University, where a lot of Norwegians have gone there in the past. But you ended up in sunny Florida and Tampa, even though there were some of the scholarships you got offered, they were higher elsewhere, but you felt that was a better fit for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the most ballsy move that I've ever made. Not having been to the U.S. at all ever before, just making that decision fairly quickly. I think that this is what I need to do to continue my career. I chose the University of Tampa based on the head coach and the team there, and the focus around sprinters and sprint swimming, because that's what I am, and that's what I wanted to sort of move my focus to. So all that, compared with being in Florida and training outside, was definitely the right choice for me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on.
The palm trees?
Yeah, because I'm not an expert on swimming at all, but I am an expert on palm trees and good weather. So I was thinking a guy from northern Norway, I would have taken the Tampa opportunity no matter what.
Yeah, but I remember
Canada, really? No,
Yeah,
you
Vancouver
gotta
is
go
a
to
beautiful
Tampa.
city.
I'm totally on board with the Tampa decision.
But then we can remember back to your dad having if you listen back to some former episodes where your dad said that because we found an option for you in outside Miami.
Yeah.
And your dad, he put the hammer down and said, "No, you're going to the wilderness of New Hampshire."
Yeah, but Fredericksburg and Miami is very similar to each other, so it would have, it's a much better choice for him to go to Florida than it would be for me.
I can the picturesque campus of University of Tampa and the buildings you have there and the facilities. It is an NCAA Division II school, so it doesn't belong to Division I, but it's Division II. And but like you said, the sprint team or the sprinters on that team, they're one of the best in the division every year. And I would say they got better by having you on the team too, Runar.
Yeah, and that was an additional factor. I was sort of weighing the options going to the Division I school where I really had to struggle to even be part of a national champion team, or I could get in at a program that was to me sort of like an underdog. Like I knew that if we got the right people in place, we could do really well, which we also did. For all the 3 years that I was there, but of course also compared to the business school that the University of Tampa has, I've been super impressed with that whole program as well.
So we went through that process rather quickly because you made the decision fairly late, and we still managed to find the good fit. And sometimes you had never been to the US before, and many students that we help, of course, have never been there before. And so the first time you ever step onto American soil is when you're actually going to live there for 3 or 4 years to finish your degree. So you actually don't know if it's the right fit until you actually get there and you just get into the habit and find out that, yeah, this was the right decision. And it certainly was that for you.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's going to be a transition no matter what you do and where you go, whether it's a new city in Norway or if it's on the other side of the planet. What I've found is that it doesn't really matter where you are. People are people, and I got to meet a lot of people fairly quickly that I clicked with, and after that, I just had an amazing time. So of course, it's going to be scary. Going to a brand new place, and especially the whole language barrier and all that. But after a couple of days, you're just in the zone and you're having fun.
So you step off the plane to blazing heat in Tampa, Florida. It is a dream place for many to go and study, I think. But when you actually got there, how was the first semester?
It was just a mix of emotions, to be honest, at first. But I remember the first night there. I came fairly late. My plane was delayed, and I got checked in and everything. And I opened the door to my dorm room, and it was a single mattress and a desk and a dresser. So I didn't have anything. I slept in my clothes the first night, and and basically were like, what am I doing? Having that feeling and feeling that sense of now this is a new beginning. I think that's what really set me up for the first semester. After that night, I just had an open mind and try to meet as many people as I could. Get introduced to the whole team, the whole college experience, and the semester went by in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, because you, as a student athlete, you get with your teammates right away. I mean, it's like they talk about the family, welcome to our family, but it really is, since you're living together, you're you're swimming together, and you swim a lot. You trained so many hours there. So and you had a women's team there as well, and of course all the other student athletes on campus too, which they're kind of like-minded people, and like-minded people play the best together. But you get into the swing of things quite quickly, and you mentioned like the language barrier. I mean, you right now it's you sound like more of an American when you speak English. But how was that for you in the beginning?
I thought it was really difficult in the beginning, to be honest. But I was so fortunate that I ended up in a dorm room with three purebred American guys who basically gave me shit every single day about the way that I spoke and really helped me perfect my English.
Okay, so they did it the hard way, because there were some other Scandinavians at the school, and for many it might be a safety net to live with fellow Scandinavians. If it was a Danish or a Swedish or another Norwegian, you obviously understand each other in your native language. But many coaches, and I speak to a lot of coaches about this, that they try to avoid putting people from the same countries in the same dorm or same apartment, because then they don't get, maybe they're not as social, or they're not forced out of their comfort zone in the same way. So that is probably a good thing.
Yes, absolutely. It really was. I didn't have a choice when I first came in. I was just placed in a dorm room. But I understood really quickly that this was something I wanted to learn and to become a professional at. So I just ended up speaking English to my Norwegian and Scandinavian friends as well.
Yeah, and that's some team rules typically, like, hey, no native language spoken at the poker table. We used to play poker quite a bit. So if we were speaking if I spoke to another Swedish player in Norwegian, they would, my friends would be like, hey, the Americans, hey, can't speak any other language than English at the table. So probably the same thing in a locker room.
Yeah, no, it was exactly the same thing for us as well.
But it's just so much easier to make friends as well when you are blue-eyed, blonde-haired Scandinavian entering Florida, and everyone there is just interested to know your story, where you're from, and what you like to do, and how things are in Norway, and etc. So it's really easy because everyone is open and they want to talk to you and they want to get to know you, which is really different from the Norwegians and the Norwegian culture, I would say.
Yeah, we have something to learn from them, I think. Being welcomed with open arms and very outgoing people, typically the Americans, and especially at a school like Tampa, where I guess there's a lot of international students being drawn to that. But you obviously did extremely well in the pool, set records, became an All-American. But how did the training and the combination of your studies, because you struggled a little bit with that at the university back home, but when you got to the US, what were the differences that made you perform so well?
That's a really good question. I just had to be incredibly structured from day one. All our daily trainings were set up, and we just had to align our classes around that, which is really easy and convenient to do when you're in a system where the professors are very understanding and willing to help you and assist you with combining the two. So I would just, at the beginning of the semester, plan out my whole schedule, and when I have it down on paper, you just follow the plan.
How many hours did you train with the team and on your own?
So with the team, 23 hours a week, and on my own, I really don't know. I would do additional work on the side, just specific work that I needed, whether it was flexibility or additional strength training or whatever. But basically everything we did with the team.
Yeah. So 23 hours, that's almost that's 1/7 of a whole week.
Yep.
And that was that in the pool, or was that with strength and conditioning as well?
That was with strength and conditioning as well.
Yeah, incredible. And working with some swimmers, it's quite popular to be able to swim outside. That is like a luxury, and I guess one of the things in Florida you can do that. How are the facilities for swimming at UT?
I mean, it's amazing. You have like campus in general is located in the middle of downtown Tampa. You have the river flowing through campus. The pool is literally in the heart of campus.
Not in the river, or was that like a special thing you would swim upstream for some extra resistance?
We would do a lot of stuff in the river. We would kayak and swim there sometimes as well. But I mean, it was an amazing facility. And I remember specifically every Friday practice, when all the other students on campus are done for the week and they just want to hang out and get some sun, you're trying to focus and swim for 2 hours in a pool where hundreds and hundreds of students are laying around sunbathing.
Yeah. You got to get used to the big crowds if you're going to get to the Olympics, doing that, right?
Yeah,
that's true. I mean, it's just a little distracting, that's for sure.
Well, good training for that then.
Yeah, my coach at my school, if there was anyone who weren't supposed to be around the training pitch while we were training, he would literally run after them and kick them out. So we didn't have any audience watching us train at all.
Okay, it's like in the national teams here, they closed the training.
Yeah, it was closed
big
training.
games.
Yeah, there was no press, nothing at all.
Yeah.
Now, my coaches were like, the more people, the better. There were girls in bikinis and just all kind of distractions.
How is it to be part of a team that you mentioned underdog, but you delivered and you won championships? How is the culture in that team, and how did the coaches kind of set that up, or was it the coaches, or was it just the swimmers on the team that made it like that?
It was a combination of both, for sure. I feel like the coaches really saw the potential, and as the team got to know each other, we got to develop our own personal goals along with the team goals that the coaches had set up. And the group of guys that I trained with in the sprint group, we were just, it was a perfect match. We pushed each other every single practice, and we saw the potential for winning a national championship title in the relay.
But you, already in your first season, I believe you became an All-American swimmer. And that means you're one of the best swimmers in NCAA Division 2. A fantastic achievement to get that so quickly. Did you improve? Were you like an All-American caliber swimmer when you first came to Tampa, or did you develop into that in your first year at the school?
No, fortunately I was an All-American, but I sort of went from being an All-American, coming in 8th place to actually winning. So that was sort of my progression. The largest progression I saw as well was when I actually came home to Norway and competed. When you're there at college and you're sort of in that bubble competing against all the other teams. Obviously, you're all sort of on different schedules, and it's difficult to compare. But when I came home and I started actually winning national titles, that's when I realized that the work that I've done in the U.S. is really working.
Yeah, people knew you in Norway from before, but there must have been some eyebrows lifted when Runar is back and he's winning here now. That is must be quite cool.
Yeah, it was an amazing feeling because, I've always wanted to do well on a national level, and I have friends all over Norway in the swimming community, and it's just a special feeling to have friends and family watching you compete. So for me to be able to accomplish that goal and that feat is, it's something that I cherish the most out of all the accomplishments that I've done.
Yeah, that's nice. And I know your parents, they came over to visit in Florida, but they desperately wanted you to come home, and we'll talk a little bit about how you eventually got home. But at one point, you almost became American there, Runar. But you had 3 years at the University of Tampa, and because you came in, you had done a year at university level already, so you got the credits for that, and that's why you ended up with 3 years at Tampa to finish your bachelor's in finance. And you mentioned the good business school. You've obviously studied at the university in Europe, and you've studied then in the US. How's the difference in how they set up how they teach business?
So it's very, very hands-on. It's a lot of practical work, a lot of presentations. For me, how the whole class was set up is completely different. We have one professor per 20 students in a class instead of sitting in an auditorium with 400 people. So you can constantly ask questions and engage with the professor on a whole nother level. To me, that has been really, really helpful. So the way the business school is set up over there compared to here just really resonated with me.
Trolls, you did business too, and you did many. I remember speaking with you about this with different projects you did. You traveled to some competitions, etc. How was that for you?
It was great. I always saw myself as more of a public speaker, and I always loved doing presentations. And compared to what my friends have done at universities here in Scandinavia, they've been exactly like Runar says. It's more, you have to do the work yourself, and you have one exam at the end of the year that's going to say that's your grade. But in the US, you work for the entire semester with different projects. I traveled to Orlando and did the biggest sales competition there is in the US, and was there for 5 days. And that was just for one class, and had different projects all across the 4 years I was there. So that was the perfect fit for me, being able to. Also, you don't have a choice. You have to sort of get good in English, because almost all business classes wants you to do public speaking and projects and presentations, and we traveled a lot and did that. So that was the perfect fit for me, I guess.
I started studying business, but then after taking a couple of classes in my first year, went away from that and decided on communication instead. So I didn't really probably get to see the full spectrum of how the business classes were. But of course, it's probably one of the most popular majors or degrees out of all the students that we help, and probably also the one that is most compatible to use everywhere.
Yep.
In your home country, or stay in the US like you did, Runar, with your degree. But you were busy, obviously, as a swimmer, and your 23 hours plus extra, plus all your classes. Did you have some time to have some other fun, like not just having fun? Nothing, no goal setting, nothing, just pure having fun with your friends.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. So when thinking about it after the fact, I don't really know how I was able to do everything that I've done. All the amazing experiences I've had over there, in addition to, of course, swimming at school. It's just mainly been because of the large friend group that I've had while I was there. And, there's just constantly every single day, there's new things to attend and different experiences, and people want to sort of pull you in every direction and do fun stuff. So to be honest, if I was going to give an advice to an upcoming student over there is learn to say no sometimes and prioritize, because there's always going to be amazing things to do either around campus or outside.
I think that's a good advice from a swimmer that knows how to be structured. It is hard to turn down fun things happening. I must admit, thinking back to how it was. But where did you go on spring break? Because Florida, that's like the #1 spring break destination. So what did you do? You went to New York or somewhere cold, or in the what happened there?
No. Spring break is NCAA time, so that's when we had our national championship.
So no, that's the downside of swimming. Then you can win national championships in spring break, but you can't be on the beach somewhere and just sip a pina colada. Okay. What I guess you preferred winning the national championship instead than Runar.
Yeah, and I mean we had an amazing after party after winning, so that was worth it.
That's good. Americans know how to celebrate big victories for sure. You also got that traditional graduation with the cap and gown, parents coming to Tampa. How was it to actually finish those 3 years and get your degree?
I was just a relief. I was so excited and didn't really focus that much on graduation because I was in the best shape of my life that year. We had just won the NCAA title. I was really training hard, preparing for the upcoming long course season and all the different meets I was going to that summer. So that was really the focus.
You never rest. Swimmers never rest, it seems.
Well, actually, we were really good at resting. We do really well when we actually have the time.
But you were doing so many things. Like, how many hours do you sleep during your 24-hour day?
Oh, I have to get at least 8 hours for sure.
Yeah, but did you, after you had the big loaf of bread after your training session? I'm not sure if that's what you actually ate, but that's what sticks to mind when I talk about swimmers. I just think of a big loaf of bread with jam. That's pretty much every day for a whole year in high school. Loaf of bread with jam. That's it. Oh. What did you eat in the cafeteria?
Everything. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When you're working out 5 hours a day, you just eat everything that you can find.
All the all-you-can-eat buffet style in American colleges, perfect for you then.
Yeah.
I mean, I had waffles for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. So.
Yeah, I wish I was a swimmer.
Yeah, I wish I was a swimmer too.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
But you still continued your swimming career, but when you graduated, I got a phone call from a very good friend of mine that works selling real estate in Florida, and he asked me, "Hey, you work with a lot of student athletes, Kim, and do you have anyone that could potentially? We're looking for a go-getter to help us build our business." And I immediately thought about you then, Runar, because you're probably the most driven person I've ever seen. And perfect, you were in Florida already, and I remember messaging you, "Hey, came across this opportunity, might want to put you forward for this position," and you said, "Okay, great," and you did that, and obviously you ended up getting the job and then starting to work in Florida right after graduation. How was that process, and was that part of your kind of plan, or was that more like, yeah, great, an opportunity, I'll just jump on it?
First of all, it was an opportunity I just had to jump on. I had been preparing myself for what to come after graduation. I had attended a few interviews with different financial institutions in Tampa, just to see what was out there. And the answer that I got was that they didn't want to offer me a position when they had to spend a lot of money on me getting a visa. What I found afterwards actually is that after you graduate college, you can apply for something called OPT, optional practical training, which gives you 1 year to work at a company in your field of study that can give you some experience. So I had applied for that already, but received a bunch of no's from companies over there. So when this opportunity came along, I was, this is the perfect match again.
Yeah, it was interesting because it's you were a finance major and outgoing guy, communicates well, and yeah, to work with renting out some pretty amazing luxury properties to Norwegians, to Americans, to Canadians, to anyone who wants to rent it. And you actually did that for the next four years. You stuck it out in Florida for that long, and it became your home.
Yeah, absolutely. I consider the U.S. my second home now for sure. I've had an amazing time there, and was so fortunate to get in with a company that again saw the value in me swimming and continuing to do so, being really supportive because I continued training my crazy hours in addition to working that full-time job. So it was, I would say those 4 years are probably the most difficult ones that I've had so far in my life, with an injury, with a full-time job, trying to perform on all stages, especially within that company as well, where they from day one gave me a lot of responsibility. I was in charge of a whole real estate portfolio of more than 40 luxury homes and 40 different owners to attend to as well. So it was a lot.
So you were thrown out to the sharks, but you managed to swim.
Yeah.
Oh, was that
I
a
like
pun?
that. No, I like that one.
Oh, okay.
I like that one.
Sorry, I just had to do that.
Yeah.
Runar. You've probably heard that one so many times. But so in Florida Bolig and Florida Leie and iRenta, they have a big portfolio. And how did you must since you were thrown to the sharks, to the rich people owning these houses and you renting it out, how did your time at Tampa at school prepare you for that?
I would say that it taught me to just pick up knowledge really quickly, and that's what it's all about. I got a couple weeks to prepare for the job, and after that you just learn on the job. I had already proven myself, finishing my degree at the University of Tampa, that I could do this and that I can learn really quickly and then I can adapt. So for me, it was just all about working hard. But of course, I had amazing coworkers that helped me on the way, and because of that teamwork that I had at my job as well as my swimming and in school, and I've had the whole time, and support from family and friends. It hasn't been easy, but it's definitely helped.
Yeah. But you then moved from Tampa, which is a picturesque and beautiful area. You moved to probably an even more beautiful area of the U.S., Boca Raton, just outside of Miami. Now that you're back in Norway, how is it to come home from like the luxury of what you've been used to? Or at least being around that and seeing it, because it can be quite, some of the homes that you were in charge of, they were extremely expensive and huge properties.
Yeah, we're talking about one of the nicest and most expensive towns or cities in all of the US. So every day to work, I would drive past at least 2 Ferraris and a Lamborghini, And here in the northern Norway, I only see reindeers. So it's definitely a huge transition.
Yeah. But did you have to get like a really good car yourself, because you would take clients out and show them? I mean, is that part of having a job like that, to have to upgrade your car, and you know, you have to really be a slick salesman?
Show appearance.
Yeah, absolutely. The only problem was that I couldn't really afford a nice car, so I got to borrow my coworker's Porsche instead.
Okay, so you're driving around your Honda Civic to work, and then you borrow the Porsche at work, and then drove your Honda Civic back home
every day.
And you managed still to combine work with swimming, and you still were hungry for to qualify for these big meets and championships. And how did the swimming turn out for you after Tampa?
That as well was an amazing transition. I got in with a private team, a small team that focuses on post grads such as myself. I swam for Performance Aquatics under Kathleen Prindle. She's a VP and on the board for USA Swimming. Absolutely amazing coach, and I was doing really well and still progressing. The first time that I was there, unfortunately, I suffered a pretty bad injury already just a few months into the job. I tore my labrum in my shoulder, had to do surgery, and it took me 7 months to get back in the pool. So from there, you know, my focus wasn't as much on qualifying for the big meets, but to just getting back to where I was and see what I could do.
And what was your highlight after college in terms of meets? Because you did get back from this injury. I mean, I know, you know, have we heard about this before? A swimmer getting a surgery for his shoulder. I mean, that seems that's like a torn knee ligament, ACL in soccer, for instance. But you did manage to get back to where you were and more.
Yeah, that's definitely my biggest achievement, and always will be, is all the hard work I put into it. I was obsessed when I was injured, getting back into shape, and you know, I would stand for hours a day just using my hand, rolling a ball at the wall just to get some momentum in my shoulder. Basically felt like I had to learn how to swim all over again, but came back 6 months later and got 2 silver medals at the national championships, just 1/10 behind my personal records in both events.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, but after that, I was just tired. I had completed my main goal for that year, and you know, I got some amazing opportunities still after that up until now, attending some really good meets, becoming U.S. Master Champion and Bahamian National Champion, but I was just exhausted.
Yeah. And then Corona hits, and you've been in the US since August 2013, and now it's time to get back to the home country for you. What was going through your mind then?
Well, I'm always going to miss the U.S. and this is just another transition period for me. I'm fortunate enough to starting a brand new job in Oslo, and are going to give that my 100% now that I'm done with swimming. And who's to say that I don't go back to the U.S. in the future?
Yeah. I think they'll be very happy with your 100% that you're at the new amazing job that you just landed, Runar. So that's big congrats for that. It's been really a pleasure to have you on, Runar, and I think inspiring for other swimmers that are listening to this, but also other athletes. But what if you can give one advice based on, if you sum up everything that you've done, what is the best advice you could give to others for a potential student athlete journey?
I would talk to someone who's gone through the process, either with you guys, myself, or other people who have done the same. The more information you have, the easier it's going to be to make that decision, especially if you have family or other people around you who are, don't really understand it as much and are unsure about you just uprooting your life and going somewhere new. So just talking to someone who has gone through that experience, it's going to be really important. I've been fortunate to have a family who has supported me from day one, and so it's just, I'm here if anyone wants to talk and if anyone has questions. So just feel free to reach out.
That's great. It'll be a great resource for many to speak to, Runar.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. Finally, an individual sport athlete on the show.
Yep.
And it's been really good to hear your insights, and congrats on a fantastic college career, Runar.
Yeah, and best of luck in your new chapter.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure.